Hello, everyone, and welcome to Farm Journal Radio. I'm Pam Fretwell. With me again on this segment, Mr. Chris Barron's, our Ask the Margins expert. And Chris, we were talking in another segment about how you were having farmers in that were frustrated about all the wet weather that you've had. You had an insurance discussion, an agronomy discussion, and marketing with Chip Flory was there. But let's get into the agronomy in this segment. You're a seed dealer too, but there's so many agronomy things that are tied to that profit that you and I always talk about. Let's talk about some of the things you visited with the farmers about.
Yeah, the agronomy component of the meeting was interesting in that, we've just had so much rain. We're at basically double the amount of rain of normal. And so, we're looking at things along the lines of not just being able to try to get things planted, but some of the fields that were planted, we've got a ton of fields that, a few that were maybe in April, some that were in May, and just having these different planting dates is really making it so we've got to manage a whole bunch of different situations all at the same time. And so the agronomist spent some time kind of talking about stand establishment and understanding that there's a lot of diseases out there right now, and the primary one that he seemed to be concerned about was Pythium. And so the importance of just getting out there and looking at the roots of the plants, taking a shovel out there and just doing a little digging. And if you see some stand establishment that's maybe or looks like some of the stands are a little light, just doing a little digging and making sure you know kind of what the roots are like. On the soybean side of things, one of the watchouts he had mentioned was sudden death syndrome. We had that a few years ago, with soybeans when we have these wet conditions early like this. He's fairly concerned that that's going to be something that we're going to be probably dealing with this year again, and so there's going to be some big yield watchouts potentially on the soybean side. But I think probably the biggest thing that he talked about that was important to think about for us as producers and on the economic side was nitrogen loss. So, he said kind of keep in mind that, there's different applications and ways of putting the nitrogen on. So you've got, the least amount of nitrogen has probably been lost from the spring anhydrous applications. So those who have done that are probably in okay condition right now. The fall anhydrous, as long as you had N-Serve on there, that's probably the second best option. And then the guys that went out there with 28% or 32% liquid this year probably have the most loss. And so what he did then is just kind of went on and talked about some of these nitrogen loss calculators that the universities have. Make sure you get a hold of some of those, and I could probably get some of those posted as well, or links to those online here. And then just the example that I pulled out of it, take home just from the margin side of thing that I like to look at is, he made the comment that we're losing 3% per day on the nitrogen. So if, you look at our saturated conditions in our area, we've been saturated the last 20 days. Well, if you take 20 times a 3% loss, that's 60% of your nitrogen that's gone. And so we really need to be thinking about that. There's $72 an acre that's gone that we're probably going to have to add to our cost of production. We're going to have to plan on going out there and probably spending that $80 and getting that side dress machine out there just to make sure that we can capitalize and maximize these yield potentials that we still do have. So I guess that was kind of the main takeaway that I got out of the meeting.
All right. Chris Barron's with us today, and of course, he's our Ask the Margins expert. You can find all of his blog and spreadsheets and our audio reports. If you go to www.agweb.com, click on the Business tab and then the Profit Center. Also, Ask the Margins expert. You can click on that tab and find all of the information there, too. So, Chris, thanks for being with us today, and thanks for being a great service to the farmers.
You bet. No problem.
All right. And that's going to be it for today's Farm Journal Radio. I'm Pam Fretwell.